Well, today, President Biden will hold his first in-person meeting at the White House with the families of Americans held hostage in Gaza by Hamas. Yesterday, he said Israel is beginning to lose international support over its, quote, indiscriminate bombing of Gaza. And the White House says National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan will travel to Israel this week to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And this comes as the UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly yesterday to pass a resolution demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. 10 countries, including the U.S. and Israel, voted against the resolution, with 23 abstaining from the vote. The UN is also warning that civilians in Gaza are facing, quote, a public health disaster amid the collapse of its healthcare system. Israel continues to bombard the enclave despite the losses of civilian life and uncertainty over the fate of hostages still being held there. So for more on all of this, let's go to BBC News Middle East correspondent Hugo Bachega. He is following the latest from Jerusalem. Hugo, it's good to see you again. What is the situation on the ground like in Gaza today?
Well, we're seeing this humanitarian crisis get worse by the hour, really. There has been a massive drop in temperatures. As you can see behind me, it's been raining across the region. It was raining earlier this morning in Gaza, and hundreds of thousands of people are now sheltering in improvised camps, living out in the open. So it is a dramatic situation for many of those people in Gaza, and still very little humanitarian aid is getting into the territory. The UN has said that aid distribution has virtually stopped because of the intense fighting all across Gaza. And again, shortages of basic supplies, and people essentially saying that there's no safe place in Gaza, with the UN warning of a public health disaster because of the conditions on the ground. So catastrophic conditions there, according to the head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, as again, very little assistance is getting into Gaza.
And so there are reports now that Israel is employing sort of a new tactic to both figuratively and literally flush out Hamas militants, pumping seawater into the tunnels. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so there has been some talk about this strategy by the Israeli authorities for quite some time now, and there have been reports quoting U.S. officials saying that the Israeli authorities have recently started pumping seawater into the network of tunnels used by Hamas. It seems that this practice has been limited and that the authorities want to see how effective this is going to be, and I think the goal here is to destroy or damage the infrastructure being used by Hamas, these tunnels that have been used by the fighters in Gaza, and also perhaps try to force them out of those underground tunnels. We haven't had a confirmation yet from the Israeli military. They haven't reacted to those reports, but there have been concerns over the long-term consequences of this practice, some environmental concerns, perhaps water contamination, and the possible long-term impact that this could have on the population of Gaza.
The Israeli government has faced some criticism over the last 24 hours in particular. The UN General Assembly voted in favor of an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. And then there were some remarks from President Biden at a private function where he said that Israel was losing international support because of what he called indiscriminate bombing in Gaza. I'm curious about the reaction there in Israel to both of those things.
Yeah, so those were very strong words by President Biden. And we had this morning reaction from the Israeli foreign minister, who said that the war in Gaza is going to continue with or without international support. So I think pressure is growing on the Israelis. We're seeing, mounting civilian casualties, this worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and the vote at the UN General Assembly and calls for a ceasefire growing internationally. And I think perhaps there has been, growing discontent also in the Biden administration. Just days ago, we heard from Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who said there was a gap between what the authorities were saying in terms of taking measures to protect the civilian population in Gaza and the reality on the ground. And very strong words also from Defense Secretary Austin, who said that there was a risk that the Israelis could turn a tactical victory in Gaza into a strategic defeat and drive the population, the Palestinian population, into the arms of Hamas because of the high number of Palestinians that have been killed in Gaza during this Israeli offensive. So I think the words by President Biden yesterday reflect this growing discontent and growing pressure on the Israeli government to do more to protect the civilian population. And I think those calls for a ceasefire, perhaps, at a point they will become too loud to be ignored by the Israeli authorities.
Hugo Bachega, thank you very much. Well, 2 missiles fired from a territory in Yemen held by the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels missed a commercial tanker loaded with jet fuel in the Red Sea. That's according to U.S. officials. The USS Mason also shot down a drone fired from Yemen during the incident. It's unclear if the warship was the intended target. Earlier this week, though, a missile fired by Houthi rebels slammed into a Norwegian-flagged tanker in the Red Sea. None of the crew were injured in that attack.